euch, ihr Leute, gebraucht Verstand. Unser Leben ist bedroht, hielt uns niemand Tod und Not.
Rodney, let me get this down. This is your Bogner Shiva. This is your 2013 Bogner Shiva. I've been tormenting her for a good 3 hours straight. Yesterday, she was subjected to 90 minutes of my terrible guitar playing, but now we are moving on to something a little more structured and a little more rigorous. Pardon the little buzz you hear in the background. That's basically just a bit of an open jack from this guy right here. But I am feeding her a brutal little sine wave, going up to about 40 hertz, really taxing the power amp in this thing, trying to make her sweat. I have not had any interruptions yet. I know you said you have a show on Thursday that you want to play this on, but in good conscience, I cannot let you do that. We're dealing with an intermittent issue, and my fear is that it's going to happen to you when you need it the most. So I need this thing to fail here rather than failing at the show. I need the data. I did find a couple of solder joints that have no solder in them. So I'm going to do those repairs. Is that the issue? I don't know. There's obviously another issue at play here. If you're experiencing that loss of gain and sound across both channels. I know you said that initially anyway. It was occurring on the lead channel. And then the issue extended over to the clean channel as well. So my money's on the preamp. This amp, let's see, is in great shape. I had tried to make this video 4 times already, and for whatever reason, just the mojo's not there. But I'll tell you that this amp is the heaviest I've ever lifted up a flight of stairs. And you're looking at a dude who's been working on twins for 2 decades, so it's insane. Once the chassis is free of the cabinet, all that stuff goes away. But there's a lot of evidence that this amp was set down pretty hard. And again, why wouldn't it have been? It's like 90 pounds fully loaded. The output transformer, I can't get you that angle. Actually, you know what? Let me switch angles here. Maybe I can show you what I'm talking about. I was going to wait for the screeching sound of train brakes to go away. I'm situated across from an old, what once was a bread factory. In fact, they made muffins, and there was a time when the air was filled with the scent of freshly baked muffins and other delights. So I'm glad I wasn't around for that. I do have an issue with bread where I can't control myself when I'm around it. So anyway, here's a horrible shot of your output transformer. We are looking at, it basically has the classic basement issue where the transformer body is trying to separate from the mounting brackets. It's lifted itself off or dropped itself from the lower part of the chassis. It's crooked. I need to reseat it. There's some loose hardware throughout, among which your most... I think the most hazardous condition does include this, since it's if this thing breaks free, it's going to yank those leads out of the chassis. There's no strain relief. It's just going straight through some grommets below the PCB. So that would be a terrible thing to suffer for this amp. This amp is replete with like, what, 7 preamp tubes? 6 excluding the phase inverter, and there's a hodgepodge of old American stock here and some more contemporary stuff. There's a Mesa Boogie 12AX7, which is I think one of their Russian 2 tubes, a good old Softtech sitting over in a hand selected Softtech sitting over in the first position. And I love Russian tubes, dude, for the preamp. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I could tell you've been rolling them. And you've done a great job because the thing sounds tremendous. I'm not getting, again, some of the things that you would suspect would include affecting both channels globally. You would expect an issue for maybe the phase inverter or V1 or even the effects loop. The amp has hardly any dust on it. It just looks like it was just really cared for well. I'm still gonna complete the rest of the service. I did find some oxidation on the pins of these tubes, which I've cleaned off. The tube sockets themselves were also scrubbed out. No need for retensioning. Everything's still super tight. I'm going to turn my attention to the jacks and pots. This isn't because I'm trying to shotgun away some invisible issue. This is just part and parcel of a service. That's just part of what I do. You're paying for a repair, you're going to get the service with it. That's just the way it's got to be. Will it capture some issues? Yeah, it could capture some, but that's not the main thrust of it. So I'm going to go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb. I'll scope it out and see if there's any anomalies. I'm not seeing any. I did check all the voltage values at AC and DC over on the sockets, and they're perfect. Your pots aren't noisy except your volume 1 pot at the very bottom of the range of motion here. At the very bottom. It's just, it's not the issue. It's not the issue. Just a little bit going from 0 over to 1. There's a little bit of crispiness that we can work out, but it's there's no easy access to the business end of this circuit board. But again, torturing will recommence after I'm done with this part, and then we'll just take it from there. And until then, we're going to continue to hammer this thing with some low frequency waves until she gives up the issues. And I'm going to be poking, prodding, shaking stuff, and maybe even cursing at it. See if we can elicit some sort of a negative response, and then we'll capture that data, and then we'll act on it. But until then, I'll keep you apprised. Reinhold, du hast eine Letztstelle vergessen. Hier. That's just saying he forgot a solder joint. And he did, or the machine did. I'm not going to blame him for that. Come on. I've seen, I worked on a 66 Bandmaster that had some of the lugs on the tone controls were completely empty of solder, and the thing had 0 issues for, 60 years? But here we are. I'm just going to do this quick touch-up, and I'm going to try to reach around the camera to do it without melting things. That would not be good. Especially here. There you go. And this amp is lead-free. So any revisions or corrections I need to make on these solder joints are going to require me to completely clean them out first. So that's a nice shiny joint, and we're going to rejoice and move on. Really enjoying the architecture of this amp. I like the recess on the opposite side of the chassis has become a mountain. That's housing the power tube sockets, these big octals here. I like it. It's a nice quality circuit board there. Love that. Very creative. And then take a peek at the rectifier board. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can behold it. Look at that. It's pretty crafty. There's some inductors there, and then the rectifier itself is sitting over here, and I don't know, there's a filter cap here, a few filters here, then we have some thermistors and some other devices. I cannot find a schematic for this thing, so I'm super interested to find out what he's done here. There's an LED here. I don't know if it's for a fault or what. Let's get the power back on and see if she lights up. And she does. So perhaps if there's a fault on this board, maybe this would, I don't know, maybe this would cease to illuminate, or perhaps change a different color. Very cool. And we're back. The service is complete. So I was able to access the potentiometers a little easier than I thought I would. Though I don't really want to do it again. It's very nerve-wracking to fool around with or work around these ribbon cables. So I was able to loosen up the hardware and then gently swing them over. This thing is replete with optocouplers and relays. Good Lord. So we're looking at another 30 minutes of torture on the signal generator. Let me get that warmed up again. I'll kick her back on and see if we can instigate a fault. So if there was something that was heat related causing this particular issue, I haven't uncovered it. And wow, quite a bit of high load testing. So let me get the input returned. If I can, I don't know if I can reach from here. Yeah, we're good. Pardon that. So, I mean, this is just bringing the thunder. Then I can take the sweep off. And I don't know if you can get a sense for that. I mean, that's a ton of low in there. If it's disturbing my 412 with those G100, G12 100Ks or K100s, wow, that's bringing it. So we're gonna poke about, see if we can instigate any issues. I don't know if this was wave soldered or not, but certainly I've seen better solder joints in my time. And I'm starting to doubt myself, was that even a rectifier board that I was looking at prior? Because the B plus looks like it's being rectified over on this side of the board. I really need a schematic. Look at that. There's a bit of solder just hanging out on top of the control panel. I wonder if this loosened up when I was cleaning the damn thing. Let me get this off. Imagine if that was causing an intermittent short, if that was just rattling around inside of this chassis. That's insane. Let me zoom in on that. See if I could even get you there. Let's see, it's under here. I might have to break this off. Let me move it over. You see it? I don't know if y'all can see it, but let me bring it up to a place where it won't get electrocuted. So where did that come from? So I can bring it into the camera here. Look at that. Where did that come from? It's actually a piece of foil. So I'm wondering if it's from the inside of the cabinet. God. So there's, sure enough, there's some foil that is hanging low enough to touch this circuit board. And I can just, look at this. I could just grab it here. I'm going to go through the cab and repair all that. I'm wondering if that was the issue. Was that the issue? Who knows? I don't know. So I was not able to instigate the issue through torture testing, through the input. I'm trying to get this thing warmed up sufficiently, and then trying to locate a defective solder joint or component through applying pressure with this guy. So I really need this issue to become apparent before I could hand this back to you with any sense of accomplishment and just good conscience. I just don't. I don't want to give this back to you and as it was when it arrived with an intermittent issue. So, all right, Rodney, stand by, buddy. All right, this has been gone through with a fine-tooth comb. What did I find? Some dirty volume pots, dirty FX loop jacks, and a missing positive 12 volt connection on one of the ribbon cables. Was that the issue? I'm not certain. And I'm not comfortable with any of this because I haven't had this thing fail on me yet. And it's been hours worth of testing. Letting her get hot, slamming it with a powerful and very low frequency signal for over 2 hours, all while poking and prodding and measuring. What is going on with you, Shiva? So, another round of torture testing. And then I'll address, you could see here where it was dropped a bit on its feet. And then I'll go through and make sure that I got that output transformer as flushly mounted as possible. I'll go through the cabinet before reassembly, and then we'll do another string of torture testing with the thing in-house in its own cabinet. Bye.